Okay, so first we're going to start with our hydrangea. So hydrangeas come in all sorts of colors. They come from different farms all across the world. What we have to remember is that when they hydrate through the flower blossoms as well as the soft, pithy center of the stem. So when we receive our hydrangea, they usually come with a little plastic bag on the end. So we remove that and then we remove the plastic. For us, we also remove the first two leaves because as the flower is hydrating, the water is going to go to the leaves before it gets to the blossom. And for us, we want to ensure that our flower blossoms are getting the water as fast as possible. So we remove the leaves, and then from there, we cut our stem. Basically, you want to expose as much of this soft, pithy center as possible. I usually say about 2 inches worth. So immediately this will go into lukewarm water. And anytime we are hydrating our flowers, we like to make sure the water level is really high. And we will also mist our flower blossoms with a spray bottle. The other thing that you can do that we find works really well, if the hydrangeas look as though they're wilting, it's obvious. You'll see it, they'll be very soft and wilted. You can take the whole flower, or if it's 20 heads, whatever it is, and submerge them upside down in water. So in this case, I just have a water pitcher to show you all. Just gonna gently put it in there and let it rest. And if it's 1 stem or 20 stems, you just wanna make sure you have enough water that's covering the entire head of the blossom, of the flower. And then you can let it sit for 2 hours. In some cases, we let it sit overnight. So, you can pull it out at the 2-hour mark and see how it's doing. Let's move on to roses. So roses come with leaves on them and they come with tiny thorns on them. When we handle our roses, the one thing I tell everybody is do not touch the top of the flower. What you have to remember is that you are working with this flower right now. If this is going to be given as a gift to somebody, over the course of the next day or 2, they're going to start to see those bruises develop from where you pushed on the top of the flower or smushed it up against something. So when processing, we go one by one. You can use a rose stripper. Today I'm using my knife and I'm just going to, remove the leaves that I know we will not need in our design. So for us, when we're processing, we do this to each stem, then we lay them down. So all 25 stems are nice and organized. We gather the stems together and we give them all a fresh cut. Cutting your stem on an angle allows for better hydration. If you give it a blunt cut, when it goes in the vase, it's literally resting on the base of the vase. So now, when it comes to dealing with the rose head, what you want to remember is there are garter petals. Oftentimes these petals can look beat up and old, so we like to just remove those. And in removing them, I'm literally just pulling it off to the side. So typically we would receive our roses on a Wednesday, and then we would leave them out overnight. So we would leave them out overnight to allow them to open. Let's assume we left this rose out overnight and this is as much as it opened and we really needed it to be bigger. So whenever we handle our rose petals, we always come in just like with 2 fingers, very gently. I take my index finger, I come in and push it, and then I use my thumb and I would gently fold that back. Sometimes we can take our index finger and just kind of go in and gently push down below. But keep in mind, I am not touching the top of the petal. So there we have a little bit of a transformation. It's very easy. And it takes a very plain rose and turns it into something extraordinary. So now I want to talk about peonies. So here we are, we've ordered some peonies and this is how they've come in, and we need to figure out how to get them all open in 2 days, let's say. So I can tell already that these are at different stages. And when a peony is really on the break like this, I mean it's breaking open, you can actually assist it with opening. And you just gently take your fingers and pull the petals back. So that helps give them an open appearance immediately. So let's put that aside. So we have another one here. This one just gently coming in and loosening those petals. And again, foliage, you can leave foliage on depending on your design. We prefer to take off everything aside from maybe one leaf at the top, because again, it allows for better hydration for our peonies. So when peonies first arrive, we take our stem, we remove the foliage, then we look at the blossom. Chances are, like this guy, you know, we'll give him a fresh cut and we'll leave him out to open. But see how easy that is? And when we cut our stems, you know, we do the same thing. We cut it on an angle and then we fill it up in a vase, nice lukewarm water, flower food. And then depending on the stage we want them open, we'll either leave them out overnight for a day or two, or we'll put them in the refrigerator if we feel like they're at the perfect point. Now, if for example, you get a peony and it's tight, it's like hard as a rock, tight as a bullet, and you don't know how you're gonna get it open in 3 days. So what we would do is take a vase, fill it up really high with very warm, almost hot water. Obviously cut it to the desired length that you think you're going to need it. So we put all the peonies in there, and then we would come in with a plastic bag and we would, you know, fill that up with some air. The heat from the hot water is going to create this moist cooking incubator here for our peonies. The warmer the climate for the peonies, the faster they open. So last but not least, we have Heleborus. Now this is such a special flower, and they come in gorgeous whites and plums and burgundies and like rosy pink tones. What we need to do when it arrives is remove any leaves that are going to be in the water. And then we have to come in with our knife in the middle of the stem, make a 2 to 3 inch insert. So like you can almost see how I opened that up there. And then you take them in a small bunch and wrap it in a paper towel like this. And you take this whole thing and you submerge it in a bucket or in your sink, so that the bucket or the sink will have lukewarm water, and then you submerge the stem. And this is an incredible way to hydrate your Heleborus, and I've seen it come back like that. So I have some here, and these were all really, really wilted before I put them in there. And now it's like super stiff and hard as a rock. It's just, it's remarkable. So it really, really, really does work. So I would strongly recommend trying that when you process your Heleborus. So for today, we've covered our hydrangea, roses, peonies, and Heleborus. 4 of the most popular flowers in the wedding world. There are many others, but I felt like these required some processing tips and attention so you guys can learn how to handle these flowers better. So I hope that you feel empowered and inspired to play with some flowers now. So give it a try and have some fun. Thanks so much for joining me. Bye.